Welcome back to Mind Your Money. In this series, we're talking about how to budget, and I'm sharing with you my daily steps to budgeting, all of the things that I do to plan and prepare for a successful budget. Again, whenever you choose to sit down on any day of the week and review your budget, you should also be reviewing your expenses. You should be checking to see if you need cash to pull out for your paychecks. You should also be checking if you've spent money on your credit card. I'm going to show you practical daily steps, all of the things that I do to manage my family's finances. And now we're at the stage where I'm getting ready to close out the budget by paycheck. I do like to budget by paycheck. It helps me to break down how much money we'll need, to make sure that all of our bills are paid for the month, reached our savings goals. That means we've saved exactly how much we needed, and then what we spend on any miscellaneous or variable spending, like our groceries. We know that groceries are more expensive right now, so there are certain things that I like to do, which is using cash rebate apps, using Fetch rewards. All of those rebate apps are linked in my description box. If you use any of them, you will get a bonus. These are easy ways to save on your groceries and to get a little money back when you're spending more for the things that you need. I also check our cash spending and then of course our giving, because that's a foundational principle for us. So that's why I do a budget by paycheck, because it helps to break the monthly budget down into the individual paychecks that we receive during the month. Some of you may be bi-weekly earners, so you would schedule your 2 paycheck budgets for the month, and then you go back and you check off what you've done. You're giving, you're saving, you're investing. If you're saving for short-term savings, I call them purpose funds. If you pull out cash, and then of course you can't forget your adulting section, which is your bills and expenses. These are the things I like to do. Now, closing out this budget, what am I doing? We talked about this in the last video, that I would track my expenses first, but this is the step-by-step process. I go ahead and check my account on the day of that I'm closing out the budget and see if the income that I budgeted is exactly what came in. And then I break it down for my own purposes to see how much of it came from W-2, what I pulled from Ibotta. I normally pull from this every single week, but I didn't this week. And then if there's any extra income, which is for us a combination of all the ways we earn side income, and I like to do that. And then the next thing I do is, once I know how much income came in, I'll write in my actual income. I'll write in the actual expenses. I do a zero-based budget. That means every dollar that we use to budget with, we're going to give it an assignment somewhere. I call these buckets. So every bucket is going to get something if we can't afford to do it that week. But every dollar is going to some bucket somewhere. My top priorities are giving, and we're going to give off of the top every single week. So whatever the actual giving amount is, I'm going to give off of what hasn't been given previously. And then there's the savings bucket. The 2 things we're focused on, you can see right here, my top priority is next month's bills. That's what NMB means, and E-fund, the emergency fund. We're pushing to get it to 20,000. So any additional money I can put towards it, I'm going to do that. We want to eventually get to 3 months ahead. Right now we're 1 month ahead of our expenses, so I try to make sure at least the largest amount we can comfortably put in there, we're going to put in ahead for not just February, but also for March's bills. All right, and then we have investing. Now, investing is a big deal for us. Right now, we're going to focus on putting cash into different various taxable brokerages, and then of course our retirement accounts, so we can invest it a few months from now. We're actually not actively buying into any additional companies until we put enough cash in there to do that. But this is where I would put money there, and I would write in the actual amount, and then I would go ahead and write in how much we're going to be divvying up the cash. So I've already pulled out the cash I need for this week's budget. I keep it in this little envelope until I'm ready to stuff all of the envelopes that I have. So I have envelopes in my wallet, and there's some cash still in here. Some of them are empty. And then I also have savings challenges that I'm doing. So this is what this is. And I keep all of my savings challenges in here. So I would go through and deposit, basically stuffing cash in those envelopes to provide us with a little extra fizzle or sizzle, if you want, for our budgeting. So And I talked about savings challenges in yesterday's video. So then we have our bills and expenses. I check my calendar. And this is why I believe it's important to have a budget calendar, because you want to see what bills are due within the paycheck period that you're looking at. This period for me is the second period of the month, from the 8th through the 14th, right? And these are the two bills that I've already said are due this month, this week. So I know that when I look at them, okay, I have Spectrum, this is the amount that we budgeted. I have Allstate, that's the amount that we budgeted, and we need to pay them, right? That's how I was able to budget it out for this week. And then the next thing I'm going to do is go to my expense tracker. And when I go to my expense tracker, I would have already filled this out in either yesterday or the day before when I was tracking expenses. Did Spectrum come out? How much is the bill? If I don't see it yet, then I would check the website, because I like to get my bill emailed to me instead of paper. You save a little money when you do that. So that's another tip. And then once I see how much the actual bill is, I'll write it out. And then I may have to make adjustments, because I use whole numbers and I usually round up on our bills and expenses. So this is probably less than $80. Now that I know that, and I'm filling out my actuals, and I pull out my calculator, and right here with you, I walk through how much is it. My Spectrum bill is actually $74.99. So when I subtract that, we're getting what, $5 and a penny. So now I've saved $5 and a penny, and I can reallocate that somewhere else. And this is how I pre-planned. I pre-planned all of January with the paydays, you know, how much minimum we would expect, where would I put all of the money for each paycheck, what purpose funds I'm focusing on. So if my bills are less, then now I can reallocate money to some of my purpose funds, Christmas, clothes, anything like that. Or maybe because I am saving for a laptop, I can transfer that to something that's other, which means it's not something that is a long-term savings. It's something that's short-term. I'm only saving for this laptop for a certain amount of time until I buy it, and then I won't be doing that anymore. So maybe that's where I can put my savings. I start to walk through all of those steps. Once I fill out the actual column in each bucket where I've allocated money, and then I total up everything. And I want to see, do I still have a zero-based budget? Does my income amount match my expenses? I should have zero after. It doesn't mean that there's zero left in my bank account. It simply means that every dollar that we budgeted with was assigned somewhere. So your categories may look different than mine. You may not see things like gas here. Your lifestyle may be different from mine, okay? And I like to track my budget in a certain way, or I use different categories, but the tracking is what's important. How much income are you using to budget with? Does it match the expenses? Because you should put every single dollar to something, even if that's a cushion in your account where you keep a little money behind just in case there are incidentals. That is also a category. That is giving your money an assignment. That assignment is stay here until I need you. That's perfectly fine. So this is the process. And then once I close out, I do all the actuals. I figure out what my zero-based budget is. I find out my percentages for these three categories, which for me are the most important right now: giving, savings, and investing. And then once I do that, I move forward to my expense tracker. And then I would go through, and using this page, I would still write down, okay, what date am I closing out? I'm closing out on the 13th of January. I'm going to write the account that I'm moving money from. This is our operating account. And I'm transferring money to our tithing checking account. I would write that in my expense tracker. Why? Because I want to keep a record of it. Maybe you don't use pen and paper. You don't like the use of workbook. Maybe you don't like writing. Whatever the case is. If you're using an Excel spreadsheet, if you're using an app on your phone, you still should be monitoring where your money's going, because you don't want to forget. And it's good to keep a record of what's happening with your money. Same thing with the savings. I would transfer the money to our bills account for future bills. I would Zelle money to our emergency fund because it's in a different institution. I would transfer money to our brokerages so they could be invested. I would track how much I took out from the bank. I withdrew this money, and what bills are being paid. I'm tracking all of that here, and then I would find out how much is our balance after all of those money moves, all of those transfers were made. And then after I do that, I close this book because I already know how much cash I'm using. And then I take a look at some savings challenges. Now these, we talked about these in a previous video. These are the savings challenges that I'm doing right now, currently. So I would go in, and to have a little fun, now that I've done all of the important things I needed to do, I'll open up my wallet, I'll see what cash I need to stuff there, and then I go to my savings challenges, and each time I save a set of money, I would color in the icons. It just makes it more fun. And then I stuff the cash into one of these envelopes that it's related to. So this Love Evolves challenge is for Valentine's Day. I would put the cash in here, and I would continue this process until I've saved all of the money that I said I would, and then use it for what it's needed for. So that is how I close out the budget. And then once all of that is done, it takes me about 45 minutes, usually no more than that. I think it feels longer because I'm filming the process, but really, if you're following this setup, it's not going to take you more than 30, maybe 35 minutes. And then I check my bill tracker. Did I pay any new bills this week? I will have to check off Spectrum, and then I will also have to check off the Allstate premium for this life insurance policy. So I'm tracking my bills too, and it takes a couple of seconds to do that. And then you're done, and you can relax knowing that all of your money is being managed properly, is being managed well, because you're just paying attention to it. So I hope this was helpful, and I believe in the next video, you're going to see me set up a new budget for a new week. And that is, again, really simple. It's just comparing your monthly budget to what you project your income to be, and then giving it an assignment. So if you did like this video, if any part of it was helpful, please make sure to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next and final video of this video series. I appreciate you guys so much for being here. Continue to mind your money, manage it well, and live your lives abundantly. Bye for now.